Hey, hey, hey. Hello, hello, hello. It is Tammy. It is Tuesday, and it's pretty darn close to 2 o'clock. So it is time for Tuesday Tips, Techniques, and Teachings. And it is the first Tuesday of the new year. If you pop on, please do me a favor and say hello so I know that we are chatting with others. And the other thing that I would really appreciate is if you could please be a doll and sprinkle or cheer this around. That would be great. Hey, that helps other people see what we're doing, and it helps me grow my page, which is awesome. We appreciate all of our followers so much. I'm going to see if I can find us on my page there. No, that's not me. That was me last night when we were laying carpeting in the studio. The things we do. Oh, gracious. I hope you are all well and enjoying this first Tuesday of 2023. How is it 2023? I feel like in a blink of an eye, our days turn into months, our months turn into years. Here we go. Hi, guys. Nice to see some of you here. There's Lois and Nancy and Alicia and Peggy. And who else did I see? Oh, cold, damp, Kansas, Bellevue, Kansas. Yeah, I was meaning to leave early today to go out and do some things, and I have still not left the house, and I cannot warm up. I don't know what's with me. Anyhow, but if you guys would be a sweetheart and text and share, that would be awesome. Let's set this aside for a sec. So, it's the first Tuesday, and of course, I'm all prepared. No, I'm not. But I will tell you something that kind of worked in my favor, is that hey, I need to get something to drink. Sorry, guys. One sec. Here's my first tip for 2023. Drink in pretty cups. I just think you should all drink in pretty cups, whether it's a coffee cup or a water bottle. Get yourself some pretty cups. I just think they make me smile, and that makes it better. It's happy New Year. Okay, so I realized once again that it was time to do something, and I hadn't quite gotten it all together, and I knew there were some things I wanted to mention. And one of my organizing things this past couple weeks is I pulled out books that I wanted to have at my ready. And one of the things, is going to take you back a while, I used to belong to Society of National Society of Tall and Decorative Painters. There we go, NSTDP. And their magazine each month was The Decorative Painter. And I have a fondness of kind of going back and looking at things. And so I decided I would just pull out the first one from 20 years ago. 20 years ago. So this is the February from 2003. And it's great that I decided to pull that out because I actually really considered recreating this painting. I've never actually painted it. I just thought that one might be a really good one for my blooming brushes. I think I'd like to take at least 1 1/4 from a master of somewhere else so that someone else has done it and do my own take on it. Not copy theirs, but take a take on it. Maybe I'm going to use the birds. Maybe I'll use part of it. If you've watched me at all, you know that I like to create my own designs. There's nothing wrong with getting inspiration. So sometimes it's fun to pull up something old and kind of go through. I'm just going to put you down. This is not of our lesson plan at all, but you just never know what you're going to find. It might be a little reminder of ways to use brushes, which is going to be very handy for me. I might want to mark that page. Seeing little projects, and I just think sometimes we can find inspiration by paging through, looking through, seeing something broken down. So that brings me to today, as I happen to see this is an idea of using kind of the New England style, and they were doing coasters, but they're doing one for each scene. Now, we're not doing that. But it got me thinking, hey, it's the first Tuesday of the first quarter of 2023. So I am going to, the first Tuesday of each quarter, do a seasonal painting. And I'm going to show you a little bit about how I'm going to put it together. I didn't spend a lot of time on it, and it's just sketched in pencil, so it's going to be a little hard to see. But I thought about what I wanted to have in it. It's winter, and we're going to deal with winter the way it normally is where I am. I live in northern Illinois. So I'm going to think of winter as a snow month. And then in spring, we'll see what spring brings, summer and fall. And so there probably won't be, these are going to be seasonal, not holiday, seasonal. So I decided with everything I painted recently with seasonal stuff, I definitely wanted it to be kind of a wintry sky. I want to have a couple different trees, and I've painted a lot of barns recently. So I decided I just want it to be more of like a house. It may evolve and change, and I'm going to offer these each quarter. If you want, all you're going to need to do is whatever the code word we come up with, I'll think of it for a moment. And I don't have it to send to you right now, so you're going to have to send me the word, and I'm going to have to go finish creating it, and I will send you a link that you'll give me your email for, and it will immediately give you the pattern and the colors that I end up using on it today. So look at that. I've already got 4 of my 52 TTTs planned out for the year. So sometimes things like that work. So tip 1, get yourself some pretty cups. Tip 2, look for inspiration even in things that are 20 years old. All right, so I'm going to turn this on. Trying to multitask here, guys. 1, 2, 3, 4. And of course, it's changed its mind of what it wants to do. What did you all do for New Year's Eve? I had a date with my favorite sweatpants. Actually, it was my leggings. We did have an opportunity to go next door to our sweet neighbors and have a toast long before midnight. And we were actually doing really well to stay up till midnight. Like, I was chatting with my husband at 11:45, and somehow we both fell asleep. And then about 2 o'clock, we made it to bed. So we were together to bring in the New Year's, but not very excitingly. Okay. I'm going to start this. And here we go. So it's going to be really light. All I've done is given myself a little bit of a sketch. So I kind of want to have an idea of some wintry sky, kind of think that's about how I can make my house. And I put in there in my ideas that I want to do a fence. So here's my challenge for you, that consider doing these with me and find a surface that you can do each one of them on. And then at the end of the year, we will have 4 seasons. So here's a suggestion. These are canvas panels. So they're thin. So there is, how many in here? There's 10 5x7s in here. That would be one idea. Another idea might be something like a sized canvas. I like, if these are in good enough shape, I'll use one of these. I usually spray mine. Yeah, this one's probably going to need to be sprayed. We'll see what I can do. And then I just tape the edges or the back when I'm painting them. These are 6x6 ones. These are ones that are readily available online. Michael's, Hobby Lobby. 6x6 is a nice size because it still can sit. If you do think you're going to use them as sitters instead of hanging on the wall, note that one side of them is folded and one side of them is flatter. So I try to just position myself so I'm painting so it could sit if I wanted. That one's a little better. We'll do that one. I think this is what I'm going to use. So might need a blow dryer. I think we've got one. I might need to get up and get paint. Who knows? We'll find out. So I'm just going to move the stuff that I said was inspirational. Okay, so I'm getting organized. I'm not organized yet. I was better until we had to move everything from that side of the studio over to this side of the studio to lay down carpeting yesterday. But it's down, and it's nice. It's so nice. Now, mind you, I do not have a finished studio. My studio is in the basement. I never wanted it to be completely finished. This area got a lot more finished when we started doing more lives. And the cabinets are great. And the other side is where I do a lot of my in-home teaching. And I just always felt like it was kind of chilly. So we just put the carpeting down. And I've got another project that I'm going to share with you guys coming up real soon. But okay, so here's my 6x6 canvas. I'm going to put my sketch aside, put you down, and let's get started. So I said I kind of wanted it to be a wintry scene, and you may have seen me do these before. Here's a similar one that I've done where I did blended color with some blues, but I do like that kind of blue-gray color. So that for me is colonial blue. So I'm going to put some colonial blue and some white on my page to start with. Maybe grab some paper towels. So look, you've already got tips in this one. You're going to get some teachings, obviously. And here's a technique to show you. So, got my plate, got my water. Might need my pencil. Colonial blue and some white to start with. And we need some paint brushes. I bet we can do with these. Look, I even got my paintbrushes all organized. Isn't that pretty? Have them organized for now, at least. Okay, I'm just going to grab a flat brush, wet it down a little bit. And my idea, to show you this, is that I'm going to have some foreground trees, and I'm going to have enough ground that I can have one main tree, and my house to be about in this area. So, going to have some blue, colonial blue, and some white. I'm just gonna like back and forth on here. If you are going to use a wrapped canvas, make sure you go around your edges. It's a good idea to tape your back so you don't get it messy, but we're just going with this for today. I don't have a definite, 1/3 blue, 2/3 white. I'm just picking it up as I see fit. So just picking that up, picked some white. I'm going to pick up some white here. I'm going to walk it down. Remember with blending, big key, oops, got a little extra something there, is lots of moisture. Moisture can be your paint. It can be water, depending on what surface you're working on and what look you're trying to get. All right, so I kind of know. I'm gonna just going into my straight blue. Oops, sorry guys, I wasn't gonna have off camera. And I'm gonna try to think that this is gonna kind of be my horizon line, just to give me a line for right now. Doesn't have to be quite that dark, but we're gonna make it just so I have an idea. Okay, this is gonna be snowy, but snow isn't white. Snow has some blues in it too. So I can just go ahead and pick up those same colors. Oh my goodness, what are those? Little gobbers. Little gobbers. And I'm just gonna get this color on so I have background to start with. Snow has lots of layers, but I kind of like the blues to be part of my tint of my snow. And I'm going to go ahead and get my bottom too. All right. Now, before I hit this with a blow dryer, set this down. I'm not going to clean my brush. I'm just going to wipe it on my paper towel. I'm going to just some distant trees. So I'm going to pick up, it's mostly white, and I'm going to use that skinny edge of the brush, and I'm just going to pull up a couple ideas of some trees in the background. That's all I'm going to do to them. They're not going to get any branches or anything else. They're just going to have just the idea that there's some trees back here. And you can go over on your edge if you want as well. Let's go ahead. I'm just going to pull a couple here and pull a couple here. I'm just using that chisel edge. I'm just pulling. And I'm pulling some of that wet paint too because it's wet. Okay. So I'm going to hit this with a blow dryer. I am. I can find the blow dryer. Well, where did the blow dryer go? Ah, right here. In front of my nose. Pretty dry. So from here, I know I'm upside down, guys, but if I'm drawing, I kind of need to see what I'm drawing, so I'm going to leave it that way. So I said I kind of wanted to have a house and make sure I had room for a main tree. So I think I'm going to start drawing my, oops, I'm typing away on here. Basic house. So let's start with a roof. Now remember, so the word we're going to use for this one is going to be winter. So when we get this done, you might want to wait and see if you like it. If it's a pattern you think you're going to want, put winter down, and I will come back in. And after I finish painting this, I will get you a link where you can get the pattern, the full pattern, and the colors I end up using today. Okay, I'm going to give it a little bit of a work. You might need to go over here a little further. I'm just drawing what I think is going to be the basic idea of a house. What do I think? There's no guarantees yet. I'm not going to put details in, but I'm going to give myself the idea of a door so I can give myself an idea of a path. And this can all change a little bit. Okay, so I've kind of sketched on a house. So if I've sketched on that house, before I start painting the house, I want there to be a few greens behind there, like some evergreens. So I'm just going to grab our trusty Hauser Green Dark. And you can do these with a variety of brushes. I have gotten very, very fond of my fan brush, but these are going to be really little. So I think I'm just going to use just a little round brush. And I'm not going to make them super fancy. Hold my paint. I'm actually pulling my paint so it's almost flat. I'm going to give it a line here. And I'm just going to make this tree like one of these that just flips up. So I'm just pulling from that center. Just making little flicks, then I'm going to come back and make them a little wider down here. A little wider on this side. They're in the background. So they don't have to be super noticeable. Well, they're noticeable, but they don't have to be super detailed. That's what I wanted to say. So the idea of a few trees that are poking out from underneath right behind the house. Could do this with a small flat brush too. And maybe we'll do one big one here. I'm going to switch to a flat brush. I think it's going to be a little easier for me. It's all about easy today. Oops. I just threw my brush on the floor. Well, you didn't miss much if you came in a little late. All we did was we kind of put on this color. This brush is a little fluffy, but still I'm trying to push down the best I can. See, it's not a very good thin brush. I think we might choose another brush. All right, just a flat brush, pushing on both sides of it, pretty tight, pretty tight. I'm just going to do one here. I'm going to come up here. I'm going to tap up. This is just with green, and I'm going to tap out this tree that's right next to my house. I'm going to bring it down a little bit. When you mist your canvases first, before you paint on them, I'm going to show you that anyhow. It makes them firmer. This one's kind of got quite a bit of bounce to it. So let's do that. Come back to that tree. I'm going to grab my mister. not my husband. And I normally do this with a heat gun, but I'm just going to show it to you just how you can tighten your canvas if you use just this mist of water. I'm not doing a ton of it, just a little mist of water. And then I tend to use my heat gun. Don't have my heat gun on me, so we're going to use my blow dryer. Oh, it's already much better. Much, much better. Much, much better. So I'm going to remove this. I can't see your comments because my keyboard decided to go on a typing spree. Hang on, I'm going to get rid of these things so I can pull up comments again. I see that Dorothy is here. And Belinda's here. All right. All right, so all I did was tighten that up a little bit. So I'm just going to go back and add a little more to my little tree that I was doing. So I'm pushing down to my green, and I know this tree is going to get a little bit of snow, so I'm going to pick up a little bit of white in my corner, and I'm just going to go back over this tree. And it's okay if I start wrapping it around my corner. It doesn't have to be perfect. It just has to be the beginning on here. We're just getting the basic shape in. We can come back and add more later. Okay. So I've got the trees around my house. We're good. And I'm going to rinse my brush. I'm going to pull a big birch. But before I do a big birch, just with some white paint, and it's okay if it has a little bit of blue in it, I want to do a couple ideas of some birch trees that just come beyond the horizon line. Maybe some of them are taller. I have no snow in here yet, so there's the idea of some birch trees. And to make them look a little more birchy, I'm just going to pull a couple little white lines here and there. I need a little black paint. I'm just going to push down and make this as flat as I can. I'm going to pick up a little bit of white so it's not completely black, it's a dark gray. And I'm going to just give a couple little swipes on a couple of our back ones. You can line these too, but I just want these to be very faint in our background. Very faint background trees. Just a little bits of black in them so we know they're birch trees. Okay. Now, while I'm figuring out where the tree's going to go, let's go ahead and make our house. I'm going to make it this antique gold color. You can make your house any color you wanted. And the house part of my house, that made a lot of sense. Rinsing my green out of my brush, is underneath the roof line, right? You see a little bit of this house up here above the secondary roof line. Now, while I have that color in my brush, I'm going to pick up a little bit of brown. Brown? Or do I want to go more? You can do brown, or we're going to try cinnamon stick. So I still have that color in my brush, right? There's the yellowish color in my brush. I'm just going to pick up the little bit on the corner of this brush. And I'm going to just put that color right next to where it separates from that one, underneath the roof line, right down there, underneath that roof line, maybe underneath this roof line too. So it doesn't have to have a lot. Just a little separation to begin with. And I could make it a log cabin, but we're just going to go with a little bit of a house. I've just got a little bit on the corner of my brush. I'm just going to walk in a little color just to give it a little color. Oops, missed underneath this one too. Okay. All right, so I'm going to fill in my roof with this brown color. Now our roof is going to get some snow on it, so I'm not going to be too worried about it being super, super perfect. But we've got a roof there. Got a roof here. Don't know if any of you caught my quick live yesterday, but we announced yesterday that we are going to be offering the first online fun. I've decided to make it just, that's what we're going to call it from now on, is fun. It is the fundamentals of acrylic painting that we're going to break down in very simple steps, 10 lessons, and we're going to do it over a course of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 weeks. Yeah, 5, is that right? That sounds right, yeah. So what we'll do is we will do short lessons, about 40 minutes long, and we will do them twice a week on Tuesdays and Thursdays. And we'll cover brush strokes, we'll cover blending, we'll cover supplies, we'll cover surface prep. It'll be pretty cool. All right, I'm going to let my house dry for a minute, and I'm going to go into a little bit of the white that I have left, and I'm just going to give myself an idea that there's snow back here, but then there's snow here. Just laying in some snow. If I go over my trees, it doesn't matter. I need a little bigger brush, and I need some clean white paint. If you missed anything on the, here's just straight white paint. I'm going to take the white, and I'm going to just kind of be scruffy on each side of my path that I put down. If you missed yesterday's talking about it and you'd like to know a little more about fundamentals of acrylic painting with cheers, put down fun, and I'll make sure you get the link to that as well. So I'm just wrapping this around the side of my, we've had several people sign up already. I'm very excited about that. I think going back to the basics is always a good thing. And I normally would have come back and squoze in some more idea of snow there, but I'm going to come in here with a big tree in just a second. So then I can decide if I need to go back in and squeeze anything in. Okay, so I've gone the white on each side of my little path. I'm going to lay in the big tree. And actually, before I lay in the big tree, well, I've got white on my brush. I'm going to lay white right at the very top of this roof. Okay? And I'm just going to pull it down. I know I'm going to make this snow. And it's winter. And I'm going to do that on this roof too. Just lay it down. And if my brown isn't completely dry, it's okay. Because this is just, again, I'm laying in that first coat. If you have a good chisel on your brush, you can just use the chisel edge or switch to a smaller round. and pull some down on the other side as well. This is the first layer. So we know there's some snow. All right. I want one big birch tree. One big birch tree. So I think I can accomplish that with this brush. I'm going to go in with my white paint, pushing down on both edges so I have a fairly tight, and I'm going to start at the very top, and I'm going to pull down. It's just going to be one big birch tree here, so I might want to make it a little wider. Oops. I'm going to pull up a couple extra branches. Pull a branch off of here too. Okay, so I've got my main birch. Now, I'm not going to clean my brush. I'm going to wipe it off. And I'm going to go into that black again, I showed you. And I'm pushing down. So it might not be pure black because I didn't rinse my brush out. And I'm going to use that chisel edge, and I'm going to come up on each side of the tree. And it doesn't have to be a complete outline. I can kind of skip a little bit. Okay. Just pushing down. I haven't reloaded. I just wanted to make that chisel edge a little tighter. Now using the pushing down again, making it flat on that flat side, I'm going to think of almost like a slight curve, just setting that brush down and just a slight curve. This is going to give me some of the markings on my birch tree. They can come from either edge. And then if you want a couple stronger lines, you can go in with a liner or a detail brush or a round. Sometimes you see really kind of like little spots, bigger spots on them. I'm going to come back with a little more black from the tip of my brush, and I'm going to let there be a couple little tiny branches coming off of here. Bloop, in the black. I'm going to get thinner as they get up, thinner and smaller as they branch off. All right, so it's in my foreground. It's bigger than the perspective of my house. I'm going to add some more white paint. And what you'll notice when you have paint on these blues like this is that it will fade a bit. So like here I can start like really building up where I know I want a little more snow there. But I'm going to skip some. I know I'm going to want this to look like there's snow around this guy. Let's really add some. I'm just going to here and there in my path. And then we're going to add some details to this house. And a fence. And a fence. All right. Set some details. So get a nice little detail brush. I'm going to fill in my house with some black windows and a door. So I'm going to give them 2 windows here. If you want the pattern, so the tracer, I will trace it right off of this when I'm finished. And the colors I used, you can just hashtag winter for me, and I will come back and tag that for you. I will also put it in the comments here. So if you'd like to get this, let's do a little window up here. All the fun little details. Here's our little door. So do you think it'll be fun to do one of these each quarter. One for each quarter would give us winter, spring, summer, and fall. Okay, let's bring that down. Okay. Florida from Rosanna. Fun, fun. Someone else put in fun. I'm going to be going ahead and letting you know more about the fundamentals of acrylic painting. So, one thing, I feel like we might need something there. First, I'm going to just try adding a little more snow there. See if that helps. Maybe it was just gets a little too. We might be okay. I'm going to tap on a little more snow, and you can brush it back and forth, or you can even just kind of tap on so it kind of looks more like mounds of snow. I'm going to pull my snow down again on the top of my roof. You might have some snow right at the base of your roof that is kind of coming off too. Just want to be able to see some of that roof. Switch over to my detail brush. Put a little more snow this way. Onto the house. Maybe there's a little bit of snow on top of my door. And I'm going to use even a skinnier, I'll be fine with this one. I'm going to put just little X's in my window. And up here too. And just decided it's going to get little shutters, little white shutters. Cute, cute, cute little house. Let's use a little round brush and just a little bit of green, and let's give them some little bushes right at the edge of the house, maybe right up in here. Come back and add some more snow around there. My snow is still wet, so some of my bushes have lots of snow on them. Okay, gonna have to let that spot dry a little bit while we think about adding a fence. I said I wanted a fence. So if I'm gonna do a fence, let me think about this. I need to make sure that my posts are bigger here than they are here. And I want it to just kind of go right at the very base of my. All right, let's go for it. I'm going to pick up some brown paint, and I'm going to make my one post start about here. My post right here. Oh, it is sleeting, it sounds like. It does not sound like snow. It sounds very much like sleet. Make it a little taller. Okay, there's our first fence post. And my next one needs to be a little shorter. A little shorter. A little shorter. Where's my fence going to end? All right. Now I'm going to connect my fence. Sometimes you have to make your fence post just a little bigger after you did one. So it looks pretty much like a fence there. Let's clean up that line. get as detailed as you want. I'm just going to pick up a little bit of black and just hit them on the left side with a little black. And underneath with a little black. Here too, a little black. It's going to be snowing, so my snow is going to have to have stuck to my fence too a little bit. So I'm going to use that same brush and a little bit of white, and I'm just going to tap here and there. It doesn't have to be the whole side of it, just a little bit on the other side of my posts. And we'll tap on a little bit on the tops where some of the snow could have gathered and stuck on top of the fence lines. And now it's a matter of coming back and just making sure we have some variations in our snow, so it definitely looks like you've got different mounds of snow hither and thither. And definitely make sure there's snow right at our fence posts. Got a little more snow here. And we're going to make it snow in just a minute. I'm going to just a couple scrapes inside there. Really going to beef up around the edge. On each side. Going to get our little bushes by our house back in under the snow. I'm going to give it a little more snow on my roof. I'm just going to lay it and let some of it just drip down. So there's some that's going to be just a little heavier. Doesn't all have to be the same. It doesn't all catch the same. It doesn't on my roofs, at least. A little snow. A little snow. All right. What do you think? What do you think? Cute? That looks cute. It's that badass word, sleet word. Yep, that's it. Okay. So, if you're just joining me, I said in my kind of last minute hurry to figure out what I was going to do today, I first gave you my first tip, which is to get yourself some pretty cups to drink out of. And to take inspiration from things that are even old. So this was kind of inspired by the idea of somebody doing coasters for each season, and they were much more of a New England style, so definitely not this style. This is kind of more of a country style, I would say. And I said I decided that I would just go ahead and plan on the first of each Tuesday, the first Tuesday of each quarter, we will do a design. Maybe we'll add some clouds. That's what I'm doing. I'm gonna add a couple clouds. Just slightly thin to paint. And I'm just gonna lay these in here. So there's clouds. First Tuesday, let's finish the sentence, Tammy. First Tuesday of each quarter, we're going to do a seasonal painting. Similar to this. Doesn't necessarily mean it's gonna be the same house. I will show you how I kind of come up with the design, and we will just kind of freehand paint it. And if it's a design that you think you're going to want, we'll have a word for you to put down in. I will go and create a full-on tracer for this after it's done. Can't create a tracer until it's done because didn't know exactly what we were going to put on here. And I will include with that tracer the colors that I chose to use with this today. Doesn't mean that's the colors you have to use. All right, we need to make it snow. So if you think you might like this one, put down winter. Winter, you know, that season we are still in. And I will come back and give you the link to get the tracer for this. Okay, I'm gonna stop. So you can make snow with just about any brush. You can even just use a flat brush like this, put thin paint on it, and then pull back the bristles and it will snow. I kind of have a old favorite brush, and this is a very, very well-used brush. This is an old fabric brush, so it's kind of stiffer. And everyone does snow a little different too. So, but this is the way I find snow easy to do. So I wet my brush. I made a little pile of thin, can you see how thin that is? It's really thin. Thin paint. For me, whenever I thin paint, I always tap my brush off onto a paper towel so I don't have globs. Now, the further away you are, the smaller your snow is going to be. But I just take and I rub my finger across the bristles and I let it snow as much as I want it to snow. It will go beyond your patterns, your piece, so make sure you're protecting anything you don't want to have snow on, like my Acron stand that I just cleaned off. Okay, this isn't going to want to stand, is it? No, I'm just going to use this for a second so I can get my edges. Okay. Now, if I wanted a more concentrated snow, I would just get down closer. The way I showed you, I think gives pretty good overall snow technique. It will just take a moment for that to dry. And this would, again, my poor nails, would be an optional thing, but this is where if you are a glittery person, the two I would suggest would be Enchanted Shimmer, which is much finer. Let's see if you can see this. You see in there, it almost just looks more like a paint, but there is lots of shimmer to this. Or if you're more of a glitter girl or boy, there is Twinkles. So I'm going to put some on, but this is like one of those things that while I tell you all the time, you can choose what you want to do, it is fun sometimes, fun from fundamentals, to be able to see those differences when we're talking about techniques, when we're talking about different products that work well for different things. And those are some of those things that we're going to cover in the Cheers Fundamentals to Acrylic Painting. And it's going to be 10 classes within the course. I'm going to add a little of my glitter to my snow. We will meet on Tuesdays and Thursdays. They will be less than an hour. They will be 40 minutes. And we're going to offer 3 bonus Zoom sections that you're not required to attend, but they will be for Q&A, questions and answers, and, you know, probably a surprise or two along the way too. So you're kind of committing to Tuesdays and Thursdays for about 40 minutes. That will be the lesson. Some of them may have painting in them. Some of them may just have painting techniques. There will be always a lesson to follow that is something for you to practice and to help build your skills. And what else can I tell you? Tuesday, Monday, Tuesday, Tuesday, Thursdays. We're going to do 2 weeks, Tuesday, Thursday, and then that Friday we'll do the Zoom. And then the next week will be completely off, so you can play catch up or whatever you like. And then we'll do lesson 5, lesson 6, lesson 7, lesson 8. And then on that Friday, we will have another Zoom. And then next week we will be off. And what else? Then the last week will be Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday we'll have our last Zoom. Okay, so I've added a little sparkle onto the roof and onto the snow. So if you'd like more information on the fundamental of acrylics painting, put fun and I'll come back and add that link for you. And if you want the winter tracing that I haven't done yet because I just finished the painting, you put winter and I'll come back. And for that, all you're going to be doing is you'll be going to a constant contact link and it will ask you for your email. Even if you've already given it to me before, you end up in a different list, it's fine. As you well know, if you're on my email list, I do not email nearly as often as I should. Very, very rarely am I doing that. But so here we go with our little winter cottage. We'll just call it a winter cottage. That was our first one. Hey, you can look forward to the first Tuesday in January, February, March, April, first Tuesday in April, May, June, July, August, September, October. And the first one in October will be a seasonal painting that we will kind of create maybe a little more beforehand than I did this one, and then I will paint it with you and you'll have the opportunity to get that tracer. So what I did was I've created 4 out of my 52 TTTs. I've come up with 4 email gathering projects that I can offer you the tracers for. I feel like it's been a pretty productive day. And I'm drinking out of a pretty cup, which says, be happy. I'm happy. Are you happy? I hope you have started the new year with lots and lots of fun. Please send. There you go. I will. I see that. I see your email address as well. Lots of good intentions for 2023. I just think it's going to be a fantastic year. I just really, really do. I've been working. Many of you probably have words of the year or phrases of the year, and I was really, really struggling, and I realized that, hang on, you're going up, okay? Up, up, up. I have the mirror from the book I did 22 years ago that I knew I would never get rid of that. And mine says, imagine the possibilities, reach for your, what does it say? Reach for your dreams, aspire to be original, believe in yourself, create with your heart, and achieve, and just achieve. So I kind of figured those are my go-to inspiration words. So if I had to pick a word this year, it kind of came to me today in the midst of a couple business calls that I think it's intentional. I think what I want my word and I want my year to be intentional. I want to do things with grace. I want to do things with purpose, and I want to be intentional. So I think I'm going to work out a way to do a word somewhere. And I have found in the years past, my word last year was peace. My word before that was grace. That I find it helpful to have the word here and there, you know, just here and there. It just kind of pops up, and it kind of reminds me that, you know what, I've decided I want to be intentional this year. And so I can see that maybe it's just a little one in the corner of our bathroom mirror that says intentional. And so when I wake up in the morning and brush my teeth, I'm going, okay, I'm intentionally brushing my teeth. No, that's not gonna be that one. So I'm excited about what this year has to offer. I'm excited to continue to work with you guys on projects like this. Like I said, you got tips, you got techniques, and you even got a teaching today. So winter, if you want this project, and you have to give me a little grace, I'm gonna have to let the paint dry, and then I'm gonna have to actually create the tracing. As I was talking yesterday, that sometimes that tracing literally becomes, I'm not gonna put this completely on here, putting the tracing paper right over my design and tracing right over that, so you're getting the exact design that I just did. So winter would be the one to get for this lovely little winter cottage. And even though I did this small, this on a 6x6, you can always take that JPEG that's going to have your tracer on it and take it to something like blockposters.com, or there's others that can then make that a different size that you need to do. You can do it a lot even in Excel. If you get it in Excel, you can go to that top corner and you can spread it. I am not a technical computer person, so I do things as simply as possible usually. So many times I'll take that JPEG, put it into my Word document, and make it a little bigger if that works for you too. So those are just some other little tips. Winter things, seasonal paintings is such a great idea. I'm glad you like that. You know, I like I said, I was inspired. Hang on, I marked it. I was inspired by these coasters. So there would be another idea. Maybe you'd like to do these designs on just probably 4x4 pieces of wood or something that could be coasters. And as long as you coat them with something really well, they can be your coasters. So another idea. I said, just gonna pick the same size, and at the end of the year you can have this display of, so I did these by 6x6, so if I did 1, 2, 3, 4 at the end of the year, it would be a kind of a cute little wall hanging or whatever to show the seasons. So all right guys, that's it. I'm gonna be a good girl and clean up my paints right away. I'm already set up for my first class in the studio on Friday, and they get to have warm feet because there's going to be carpeting under their feet. Yay! The little things that make Tammy happy. Okay, I'll go back, look at comments. I will go back and make our tracings, and I will make sure if you've looking for more information for our 10 class acrylic course, that you're going to put down fun, and I'm going to find you and put more information in there for you as well. All right. Have a great rest of your Tuesday, a great rest of your week. I'm planning on doing an essential stencil project tomorrow. Probably, I have Ryan tomorrow, probably more toward the evening. But until I see you again, be kind, be safe, and cheers. Bye-bye.